accidente, etc.
Thrill me.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Horror Flicks and Guitar Picks podcast. I'm your host, Tim, and today I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Steven. How's it going, man?
What's up, dude? Doing all right. Just getting over a little bit of a cold. If my voice sounds a little weird. I got that sultry podcast voice right now.
Well, it definitely wouldn't be a Christmas time horror movie chat if somebody wasn't sick in the conversation. I feel like I kind of sound stuffy, which sucks because that means if I'm starting to sound stuffy, it's only inevitable that I'll get stuffy. But it's definitely that time of year, so I definitely feel you. I'm glad that you're feeling better though, because we're recording this on your upswing, not your downswing. Hopefully, you never know. But
Yeah. No, I think I'm making my way into the clear, but yeah, so I appreciate it. So
hell yeah, probably quickest cat cameo we've had on the podcast so far.
Heck yeah.
No, and of course, today we're talking about both Jack Frost films, the one from 1997, and then coincidentally, the one from 1998 as well, the Michael Keaton. Only one is a horror film, but the other one's horrifying, so it kind of makes sense. But I'll go ahead and say that's one thing that I'll go ahead and just say right off the bat is I didn't find any information on why these two films came out so close. It literally, everything just said coincidence, kind of like, I don't know if you remember when that Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman movie came out, No Strings Attached, like right around the same time as that movie Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis, and it was pretty much the exact same movie. It was
Same
like
thing.
yeah, it was two rom-coms where it was like Friends with Benefits over the years finally like get together and stuff. But no, I think it was just like in the zeitgeist. And this happened like back in the day when there wasn't even like so much internet for that stuff to get out there as quickly and be like, oh, they're making this type of movie. You know what I mean? It was like
Sure.
unless these guys were reading Fangoria, I'm sure they had no idea about Jack Frost. And even then, I don't know if it was in the horror Jack Frost. It was a direct-to-video thing, so who knows if it made it past any kind of
Yeah.
dirt sheet papers and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that is funny. I feel like I feel like it's more I mean, because the horror one came out first by a year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funnier for the family film because I just imagine the producers are like, wait, what? There's this movie? Oh crap. Like this is gonna be really confusing for a lot of people. Let's hope they don't, rent the wrong one. So, but
Yeah. No, that's actually what surprises me more is that the family film, like, because that's the one that came out second. I'm surprised that they didn't change their name, just like you said, because of the fact. But when you watch the film, I guess it would have been impossible back then because the CGI budget would have been way higher because it would have been way harder to CGI and stuff. And they
Sure.
have the Jack Frost band stickers on every fucking thing in that movie. Like, literally, he
Yeah.
has it on the snowman when he like comes back to life. He has like his own band sticker on him. I'm like. It's like on the shovel. That's like what makes him start crying. We'll get into some of that stuff when we start talking about the films and stuff. But it's
Sure,
just,
sure.
but it definitely would have been harder to change the name with that one than it probably would have been with the other one because then it would have just been ADR for the horror one. But that came first, so and I'm sure that they didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Unless they would have been worried about getting sued. But since they came
Yeah.
first, I'm sure
I don't
not.
know.
But
Maybe late 90s was just big snowman energy. They just were like, snowmans are hot. That's what it is. So,
yeah, I mean the character like Jack Frost has been around forever, like the cartoon and stuff like that, and that's kind of what the thing Saul said was that it was a coincidence because one was just banking on the slasher craze of the late '90s, and the other was banking on like the family-friendly craze of the late '90s. So they were both like cashing in on the same two things, pretty much, just in separate areas. You know what I mean? Or the same character, but in two separate areas. You know what I mean? So
sure.
it'd be like getting a family-friendly Frankenstein movie and then like a horror Frankenstein, but a snowman instead. But.
I like it.
Hell yeah. Before we dive right into those two films, of course, we're going to kind of just talk about them side by side. That way we can just talk about our favorite moments, what we don't like. We're not going to spend too much time on those films. They're both just kind of fun. One's, well, I don't know. We'll talk about them when we get to them. One of them might not be so fun. We'll get our opinions on that. But before we do, I just want to ask you, because, for any of those that are just, listening to the show or, haven't listened in a while, we took a little small break and then we decided to return with this episode as well as one more episode in December, which will be our next episode. And that's our top 10 horror movies of 2025. We'll also talk about our favorite albums and non-horror films of the year and stuff like that. So we're not going to really talk about that stuff this week like we usually start the episodes where we talk about what we've been watching and stuff like that. But we will talk about a few series, which pretty much the only one that I've saw recently was Stranger Things part one,
Mhm.
the same part that everybody saw. What did you think about part one? We don't got to go spoilers for somebody that hasn't got
Oh
time to
yeah.
watch it all yet, but would you give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, or
Oh yeah, definitely thumbs up. I mean, I had a blast with it. I think I'm pretty much have watched it 2 times through already. Not that it's like a whole lot to have to dig through, but I mean, we visited family, like literally drove into my parents for Thanksgiving on Wednesday and then like had less than an hour before it aired on Netflix and we were like, okay, everybody shut up. We're watching Stranger Things and we watched it all the way through. So that was fun to like hyper binge it, like I don't know. It was a late night, but I don't think we could have done it any other way. So but yeah, so I don't have any complaints so far. Um, it feels hard to like really like nitpick it when I haven't seen what the whole season's going to be. So I think I'm reserving some of my creative feedback for once I've seen everything. So
yeah. No, they did a good job of leaving me wanting more, but and I really
mhm.
enjoyed how small spoiler I will say is how everything kind of takes place within like a day, like within like almost a day, like it almost plays out close to real
Mhm.
time, because these episodes are so long, with a few gaps here and there and stuff.
Sure.
Especially in the last episode. But for the most like for part, it kind of there's not it's not like something happens and then we're 2 weeks later. It's kind of like pretty congruent. But I really enjoy that about it. So now I'm with you. I'm really excited to see the rest of what they do with it. And what's funny is the night that it premiered. I was so excited. We were ready to go. And then went out to do something. I can't remember if I went out to get dinner or just go to the store or something. And I was on the way home and my wife texted me and she was like, "Our power's out." I was like,
Oh shit.
what the fuck you mean her power's out? So and we found out a transformer blew. So
Oh
literally we're sitting
no.
around like I think that's what we went to literally do is go get dinner and because we came back and we were eating dinner like under candlelight and stuff and I was like, dude, if this shit it was like 7 o'clock. I was like, they got an hour to get this shit together. And I think I said that at 6. We had spent an hour without power. It came back on at 7. So I was
Mm.
like heck yeah, like I settled down a little bit. And then at 8 I started the episode and at 8:30 power went right back out and did
Oh
not come
no.
back on until like 2 a.m. because I stayed up for a good while
Oh,
waiting and then finally just went to sleep. And sometimes I doze off and go back, wake up. So I woke back up at like 1 and it still wasn't back on. So it was at least close to
dang.
2 before it came back on. But what was crazy is I finished watching the first episode on my phone, but I didn't want to watch
Mhm.
the rest of it on my phone. But
Sure.
I was so and Netflix crashed as soon as it started anyways. So like it took me 15 minutes to get it started. So I was already like 15 minutes behind actually getting into Netflix and getting it working. And so then by the time I like started the episode, I only watched like 20 minutes of it, but I was like I'm too
Mhm.
into it to not watch at least the rest of this episode tonight. But then I
Oh
binged the rest
yeah.
of it the next day. So
It was all crashed out for us too when we tried to watch it like right at 8 and then like I had like because my mom watches the show so she was excited to at least watch an episode or two with us and they're like everybody in the room was like no you gotta click on this and I'm like I can't do certain things I was
yeah.
like everybody calm down it's glitching out Netflix has crashed. There's nothing I can do right now. They're like, no, you need to go back. And I'm like, stop. That was super backseat driving me. It
Yeah.
was it was awful. And I was like, I just want to watch this show. So,
No, I feel
but
that. I'm the one controlling RTV too, and the whole time Lauren's beside me, like, this is fucking bullshit, and like just kept cussing and getting like mad, and I'm like, I'm mad too, but like you just being mad next to me isn't helping really. I'm like,
hmm
but so
yeah.
I feel that, but no, it was definitely worth it. I'm excited for the rest. I almost thought about going to the theater for the finale, but because it's New Year's Eve and day,
hmm
it kind of wasn't worth it because it's one of those things I could have gone on New Year's Day. I wouldn't really want to go New Year's Eve. And I don't want to wait to New Year's Day to watch it like late in the afternoon. As soon as I can
Sure.
watch it, I'm gonna watch it. So definitely not worried about
Yeah,
that.
I would be interested in going to see it in theaters, but the family is like, no, I am not gonna like risk getting that emotional in a theater full of a bunch of other people and have to like walk out and and
Right.
everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're all bawling. Because I'm assuming I just have to assume that there's gonna be some sadness coming our way,
Oh yeah.
especially when I expected more of that to potentially happen in this first little chunk, and so I'm bracing for it for sure. So.
Yeah, no, I expected to lose a character in the first half for sure, and when we didn't, I was like, "Fuck, they're gonna either
Mhm.
not kill people and just put them in like severe danger this year." Because I mean, they did like really like I will say they made me like really worried for Holly and her mom at
Mhm.
for a minute there. Oh, shit, I'm going into spoilers, but I will say that kind of stuff's all over YouTube and stuff like that now. But
Yeah.
but I'll stop at there with the spoiler thoughts. But they did make me feel like a little bit more worried about some of the characters at moments than I have in the past. But it's not like they died, so
Sure.
against no spoilers for people. But we've already kind of established that nobody dies in the
Mm.
first four episodes was what we've been saying. So, but definitely check it out if you haven't. And I'm honestly, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to watch it because by the time this episode drops, it'll be that's like what three weeks ago. So, but.
Yeah, then you're a poser. You're not a real Stranger Things fan.
Or if you're still just on the fence of like, oh, I don't want to watch that show, it is worth it. It's
Mm.
worth watching it, especially if you want to just wait for it to end and then so you can binge the whole thing. It's very
That's fair.
close to that. So,
I
um,
did I did see an article, and I feel like I see an article every day now about Stranger Things. Like they say this, now they say this. Like it just seems to be the like pop culture media news topic, as it would be. But the one thing that I saw was like the Duffer Brothers initially wanted to do like a weekly release for all the episodes for this season,
yeah,
but Netflix like super shot it down, was like, absolutely not. Like, that's not what we do. And
yeah,
so I was like, oh man, that kind of would have been sort of sweet. I don't know. I
yeah.
would have been into that, I think. So,
Nah, same. Especially because it's the way it's so spread out. It almost like could have fell weekly. You know what I mean? It's about 4 weeks between the first up. Stuff like
yeah,
that. So,
I
but
agree.
hell yeah. And you checked out a couple shows as well, didn't you? Over on the HBO Max.
Yeah, I still haven't watched Welcome to Derry yet.
Yeah,
I'm
need to
just
get on
gonna
that.
wait until all of the episodes are out. That's one of those ones that like I'm gonna watch it. It's not anything I'm like was like super anticipating. I like the It franchise, but it's not anything that like blows my mind. But I mean, I've heard some good things, so I'm just gonna kind of go into it with kind of zero expectations. So I'm excited to watch it, I guess. But yeah, I watched just finished the season finale of The Chair Company. Um, our boy Tim Robinson. It's absurd. Like I mean, you and I saw Friendship together. It's very much that vibe, but even crazier, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. And you're just constantly it's like a constant battle of like, is what is really happening, or is there really more to this? And I don't know. I really think it's some of his like best work, personally.
yeah,
Um, I don't know much about the writers and the like the people that are doing this show, but I don't know. It almost has like a David Lynch-esque kind of level of like weirdness to it, you know?
yeah.
Like if Twin Peaks was a Tim Robinson show, like with that kind of humor, kind of gives me that vibe, which is super fun. And Katie really likes it. So, I mean, if that shows anything, like as weird as it is, like Katie's like, yeah, I'm hooked on this show. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's good. So I'll be excited for you to watch it. Yeah.
No, those two are high up on my watch list. It was one of those things that I was sharing HBO Max with somebody that lives out of state,
Mhm.
and they started like really like cracking down on location. So I haven't really been able to use HBO Max lately. And when they did the Black Friday 2.99 a month deal for a year, I
Mm.
went ahead and took that. So now I have
Nice.
HBO Max again. So as soon as once we get done with our top 10 of the year episode, and I've caught up on because I got some movies I still want to watch and stuff.
Mhm.
So once I've caught up on all the movies I haven't seen, I'm really gonna binge those two series first, and then get back on Righteous Gemstones. I do want to
Nice.
shout out also the one thing that was cool is I don't know if you noticed, but episode three of Stranger Things was directed by Frank Darabont, who did The Mist, Shawshank Redemption, Green
Oh,
Mile, a
really?
bunch of stuff. So yeah, I was like,
Wow.
holy shit. We were literally watching. I went, holy fuck, and my wife was like, what? And I was like, oh, Frank Darabont. So now I was stoked
That's
about
funny.
that, but I didn't pay
Nice.
attention until that one had like I just happened to catch on episode three. So I don't know who did one and two. And then the Duffer Brothers did episode four, which like makes
Mm.
sense because it's the mid-season finale. But um,
Sure.
no, hell yeah. And of course, before we jump into Jack Frost, since we're only doing, or both Jack Frost movies, since we're only doing one like Christmas-based episode this year, what's some of your go-to like horror Christmas movies that you watch like every year? Like you don't have to rattle them all off, but like what's some of the ones that you like make sure you watch every year?
Yeah, I am not as like I feel like I go so hard for Halloween that when Christmas comes around, I am like, ah, I'm over holidays. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Christmas. I I don't like have a particular like go-to Christmas horror film. I mean, I have some favorites you know, Black Christmas is one of my favorites, but it's not like it's kind of, you know, not a fun watch, so it's not
Yeah.
something I want to watch all the time, you know, and it's kind of slow, but it's incredible. And I don't know, Gremlins, you know, if I'm feeling fun or, you know, we end up watching, you know, freaking, um, oh my gosh, my brain is not allowing me to think. Freaking Buddy the Elf. Why can't I
Oh,
think of what
Elf.
that
It's
is?
just called Elf.
Elf.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of this cold is frying my brain. Yeah, Elf. I
Brain
mean, we end
fog.
up watching Elf 1,000 times usually. Um, but yeah, I don't have like the quintessential go-to like Christmas film, whether it's horror or not horror. My wife loves like all of like the classic like stop motion, you know, old films like, you know, The Year Without a Santa Claus. Like we always have to watch that, you know. But other than that, like it's not really as much of a traditional thing. So, what about you?
Isn't it Rankin Bass that do the animated movies, I think? Yeah.
Yep,
Hell yeah.
yep, yep.
No, I'm the same way. I love the Christmas holiday. I like the spirit more than and like I like giving gifts like more than I'm like, oh, give me, you know, like
Hmm.
I like enjoy the holiday. It's one of those things that I enjoy the spirit of it, but like I could do without the actual day of Christmas, like that type of part,
Sure.
like is whatever. It's nice to see family on that day and like everybody be stoked that it's like see kids stoked that it's Christmas, but that's pretty much what I mean by that. Like with the gift thing is like it's cool to give gifts, but even that part, like I don't like it's more
Hmm.
about just like the cool, like watching these movies and like getting around family and I like cold weather and stuff. So I do have like a lot of go-to Christmas movies. We've actually even started watching some of the ones that are non-horror, like throughout the like post-Thanksgiving week,
Hmm.
just because I told Lauren I was like, there's so many years where I feel like I get through it and didn't get to watch some of my favorites. So we went ahead and started knocking off some small ones and stuff, and of course, you know, Jack Frost and stuff. But Black Christmas is one of my favorite slasher films of all time. Not only one of my favorite like
Hmm.
go-to Christmas films, so that one definitely I always go to. And Gremlins, but I actually have like a decent sized list of like ones I try to watch every year. It's like four or five other ones.
Hmm.
One that we always watch Christmas Day, and we watch it on YouTube is the Tales from the Crypt episode, All Through the House.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
remember you telling me about that.
yeah, and it's pretty much a remake. We've done it for like 9 years now because we started doing it around the time I got married, and we've
Hmm.
been married 8 years. So I think we did it the year before, and then just kept doing it and stuff. Uh, but we watch that every year. It's the segment is pretty much a remake of the segment from the anthology film from back in the day, and we watched that. I like both the foreign films, Rare Exports and Dial Code Santa Claus. Christmas Evil is actually in like my top three. We're gonna watch Krampus on the projector this Sunday. My son
Hmm.
loves Krampus because it's one of the more family friendly ones.
Yeah, that
Uh,
one's fun. My daughter's found like a love for that one for sure. So I'm
yeah.
sure we'll end up watching that one.
No, and I'm stoked for the new Silent Night, Deadly Night to come out.
Hmm.
I watch usually one of those every year, either like two or five.
Hmm.
And then Terrifier 3 now. So I've actually
Mm.
been trying to get my son to go to sleep early enough one night this week that I can watch Terrifier 3. So yeah, I'm stoked for that. But trying to think if there's any other. Oh, my other go-to Christmas. This one is like one of my favorites in recent times, and it's Christmas Bloody Christmas by Joe Bigos, the same guy that did. Uh, VFW, he did Bliss and
Mhm.
some other stuff. And it's pretty much about this robot Santa Claus
Yeah, that one's
that
fun.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Terminator, Santa Claus pretty much. But I just love how like the entire film is almost lit with like Christmas lights.
Mhm.
The characters feel like people that like I've gone to like seen at shows like and would be regulars at like hardcore
Mhm.
and punk shows and stuff like that. So no, I really enjoy that movie and the people like the every character in it and I really like Joe Bigos's films. I need to watch Jimmy and Stiggs is one of my lists for films to watch before our top 10 episode. I don't think it'll make my top 10 because at this point in the
Mhm.
year, it's like something's really got to be like great to break that top 10. If I saw it back when it came out, it might have already like landed a spot and stuck there a little bit, uh,
Sure.
I definitely want to see it so I can at least just throw it in the honorable mentions if I enjoy it, like I think I will. But no, hell yeah. But and Jack Frost honestly is not one of my go-to like every year movies. Like neither one. When I was a kid, I watched the Snowman one. Like I'd rent it from
Mhm.
Blockbuster, but I don't think I ever even owned it. And I remembered it being way funner than it was. But
Oh.
which we can get into that. These were kind of my picks because we took that break and then
Mhm.
when we decided to come back, I was just like, hey, can we just want to do this Christmas episode and then our top 10. Uh, and this was kind of my pick just because of that reason. I hadn't seen either film in a while.
Mhm.
I wanted to watch the horror one again, and I figured why not just go ahead and compare it with the Michael Keaton one. I didn't realize the Michael Keaton one was like I had to pay to rent it. I had to uh, rent it to watch it. I thought it was going to be like available to stream. So
Mhm.
sorry about that. I don't know if you just watched a YouTube version or something, but uh,
I got lucky. We have Hulu and it was on Hulu, so.
oh damn, I have Hulu too, but maybe I didn't have like the add-on thing or whatever.
Mm,
But so I ended up watching. I just wanted to watch them again and stuff like that. But
mm.
do you remember your first experience with these films growing, or did you have an experience with these films growing up? I think you said that you hadn't seen the Michael Keaton one until.
Yeah, I'd never seen the Michael Keaton one until this weekend when I watched it. And yeah, the horror film I saw in college. And I think it was just like one of those, like it was, winter time and we're like, oh yeah, like let's watch some cheesy. We're like, oh, I've never seen this. And I remember I'm pretty certain like when I was a kid, the VHS box had like one of those lenticular covers where like it was like the hologram where it was like open mouth, closed mouth. Wait, am I mistaking that? Do you remember that? I
Yeah,
feel like his,
that was exactly what I was going to bring up as
yeah.
a kid that's what made this movie stick in my head. That
Uh-huh.
I had a similar experience, pretty much same experience. You know how I mentioned before, like you always talk about college days, and I always talk about like
Hmm.
watching stuff with like people after like band practice and stuff. We would just throw into these random movies as well, and I think it was kind of the same thing where the lenticular cover growing up scared the fuck out of me. So I was like, I'm not watching
Uh-huh.
that. And then years later, I was like, oh. Like once you become an adult, you think about Killer Snowman, it
Sure.
just sounds stupid. So you're like, of course, let's throw it on and then like make fun of it. And
Uh-huh.
it's exactly the kind of film. That's kind of what that film is made for, is literally background
Oh
party
yeah.
noise, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so yeah, I saw it in college and I don't remember having like a particular opinion of it either way. And then I think I didn't see it again until because it played on Joe Bob for Last Drive-In. I swear it played on Last Drive-In or the Christmas special one of the years.
Yeah.
And so I think that was like the second time I had rewatched the movie and I was just like, man, this movie is so bad. But it's like like you said, it's like a pizza beer horror film. You hang out with friends, you make fun of it. I mean, I get why it's like a cult classic. But yeah, that's kind of like how I got introduced to it. So college and then, watching it again, later. Um, but yeah, and then the family film. Yeah, I don't know why I never saw it. I don't know if I was like just I mean, I would have, so if it came out in 98, realistically, I would have probably not have been able to rent it until like 2000. So
Yeah.
I would have been, you know, 13. So I was probably like edging out of like the 90s kid films, Um, and so yeah, it just like flew off the radar for me and didn't really pay any attention to it. I remember seeing like the ads and stuff for it, but yeah, just never watched it. And yeah, I mean it's a 90s family Christmas movie. Like I don't know how to describe it any other way other than, it's no different than seeing like a Airbud movie, as far as like how ridiculous the plot is and what can happen, and then just like the like overly like perfect Boy Scout like type kid, that's the main character, and he's stands up to the bullies, and I don't know, it's like what you expect of every 90s type family movie. But yeah, I mean it was fine. It's hard to like really feel like I can rank it as something that I like just because I feel like I don't have that nostalgic factor for it, So seeing that now, it just feels like, yeah, it's a 90s movie. So,
Yeah.
but I
And I,
think my favorite part about the movie was the fact that the hockey coach, what's his face is in it from
Oh, Henry Rollins.
Henry Rollins is in it. And I was just like, hell yes, why is he in this movie?
Right.
Like, I don't know. So random. There's a lot of random stuff in that movie. I'll hand it that. There's random shit in both films, actually.
Yeah.
So, but
No, I agree 100% with the horror one about it being like a beer and pizza film, especially because it's so like when it's fun, but then when it's not, it's very fucking boring. Like it's so
yeah.
boring. And honestly, I kind of was thinking nostalgia was gonna make me really enjoy the family friendly one. But what's crazy is like how you remember stuff sometimes. I remember that film having so much snowman in it. Like all I remember is the fun shit like from him being a snowman. I didn't
Mhm.
realize there was 40 minutes before that even happens. I was like, holy shit, this dude just fucking talking about his failed career. And what's crazy is how uh it makes it like kind of lets you think he's like it's trying to make everybody seem like a good happy family, like he's a good
Uh-huh.
dad. But then at the same time, it's also being like, well, he's kind of a flaky, shitty dad. So it's
Yeah.
like,
You're right though. He is such a good dad, but then like has a few tiny little things that they're like, what a shitty dad. Like I don't know. Like and they're supportive of him too. It's like, oh, he got this big, record deal that he gets to go do, and they're like, well, we're supposed to go to the cabin. Like I don't know. There's like funny things that I feel like, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. There's way worse dads out there for sure.
you know.
So I don't know.
No,
But
but what's crazy is like they're talking about how one thing he says is he's like I need one hit song, that's all I need or whatever. It's like, well, you open up the movie with fucking Frosty the Snowman. It's just like a blues version of it. Like you don't think you need to be original with it. So
yeah.
no, no, that's one thing that's crazy to me is how much they make this family like backing him, like him being a musician being like a backing thing because they don't establish like one line I wrote down a quote from the movie when it starts to like show the town and like you hear the guy on the radio, he calls them the best little band no one's ever heard of, like kind of throwing shade at them. And I'm like, it'd be one thing if the dude was 25, like in the movie Together, to compare it to something
Mhm.
kind of newer, which of course, the music industry has changed, but also you weren't making fucking millions off of playing bars back in the day either. And
Sure.
they live in like a nice house in a nice fucking
Mm,
winter town. And it's like you would not make that living as a failed musician. And it's not like he's 25, like even
mm-mm.
Dave Franco is like they kind of make fun of him for being a failed musician and he's like probably 10 years younger than Michael Keaton is in this film. And
Sure.
I don't know, it's just wild to me how like you said his family's like backing him, but at the same time it's like he's got to go to the studio instead of his kid's hockey game. It's like the studio that was even before that you knew that there was gonna be somebody there that could get that was just to go record. It's like what another
Mhm.
cover of fucking Frosty or like and he doesn't he can't fix the sink. It's like, dude, what do you
Oh yeah.
like what the hell? Like the fixing the sink wasn't even money. That was just like he didn't wasn't doing it. It's like
Sure. I think the
nah.
funny thing too is like, why is he a blues musician? Like, of all the things that they could make him to be like a, like up and coming, like, you know, musical sensation, they're like, nah, like, let's make him be into blues music. Like, I can't remember like blues being particularly like a hot thing in the 90s. Maybe it was, or maybe it's just like some random, like the director's like, I'm a blues cat and this movie's gonna be about blues, god damn it. Like I don't know. It's kind of funny. But
Well, especially in a movie like a kids movie where you're trying to portray the dad as like quote unquote cool.
yeah.
It's like, and I don't mean as a pun, but it's one of those things where you exactly why wouldn't it be like a rock and roll band or like
Yeah.
even like a hip hop art? I mean, obviously Michael Keaton don't need to be up there doing hip hop, but I mean Batman can do whatever he
Oh my
wants.
God.
But no, that's one thing that's funny about this film is and that's what makes the two films so weirdly comparable is like uh they say they're a coincidence, but this one like leans into the father dad thing for like no reason at all, just like the other
Mhm.
one kind of leans into a father dad thing for no reason at all. It's like they
Yeah.
could have made a Frosty the Snowman movie because that's essentially what these are, you just with the name Jack Frost. And
Mhm.
but they could have made the Frosty story without it being a kid's dad who died and came back with a magical harmonica. You know what I mean? It literally could have just been like these fucking kids put it like we're struggling because like he needs a father figure and then he puts a hat on Frosty. That way it's not so like dark. Like they didn't have to kill somebody in a fucking car crash on
Yeah.
Christmas. Like that's what's wild is this film's like so this film's almost as dark as the horror. If it wasn't for the bathroom scene with Nadia from American Pie, Shannon Elizabeth. It would
Oh yeah.
this movie might be darker if it wasn't for that one scene. But
That's funny. Yeah, it is funny. And like you said, it did take forever for him to die. And I knew like that was the premise of the movie, you know? So like I was waiting for it. But yeah, I was like every moment he had to go drive away or something, I was like, when is this dude gonna, you know, bite the bullet? Like, isn't this supposed to happen? And yeah, it took forever. And yeah.
no, and
And
that's
it
the
happened so quick too. It's just, you know, a blizzard and it's like, ah!
yeah,
You
you
just see
literally
the
don't even get to
guardrail.
see him. It's like in the they should have done like Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. Have you ever seen that?
It's been a while, but yeah, that's the one. Is that the one with like the aunt or whatever? I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, yeah,
And like the kid gets dropped off at the beginning of the movie and the family drives off and they literally drive off a cliff and it
yeah.
shows like
Yeah.
this car tumbling and
Ah, yes.
exploding and I'm like you can tell it's
That,
stock footage or something or they spent their entire budget on it but
uh-huh.
I'm like they should have done that shit for Michael Keaton, dude.
Yeah,
But
seriously.
but
Let him go out.
that's one of the differences in these two films, though, and that's one of the when I said my complaints are kind of similar. This is the one complaint I don't have about the horror film is how like that one moves like breakneck speed. Like you're first of all, I love the intro in that one with the it's way better than the blues intro. Like the little story time where he's like,
Oh
"Will you tell
yeah.
me a story?" and then he tells like the story of Jack Frost. Like I love that. It feels like that those like Rankin Bass like cartoons almost in a way.
Sure.
And then to go into this weird horror film. I mean, I wish that's the one thing is the horror Jack Frost. Uh, kind of does the same has the same issue, you know, where like it's uneven in the tone. I mean, it jumps right into the things which makes it like and you're like, "Oh man, this is going to be fun." And you think it's going to be more gruesome because of his like transformation into Frosty and shit like that. But then after that it kind
Hmm.
of loses its like lackluster like it almost needs to be a gag a minute horror film to be like a good horror comedy, you know what I mean? Especially since
Yeah.
it can't really slam home the kills because of the puppet like work and stuff. And then uh so and it's but it that's the thing is it's uneven just like the other film where it's like you know you can't establish if you're supposed to like the dad or hate the dad in the family friendly one and in this
Hmm.
one it's almost like you're not supposed you don't really know which characters you're supposed to like and when they introduce you to the town almost everybody seems like a bumbling idiot but also lovable. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. So it's very like both films are just so uneven in like tone like throughout the film. Like one's got this super
Sure.
dark thing that turns into this wildly fam like him
Hmm.
literally getting and both movies have fucking snow boobs for whatever reason. I don't that's another similarity that was not necessary.
That is true. I forgot about that. Uh, the thing that I love about the horror film Jack Frost is the amount of fake snow that is in that movie.
Yeah.
Um, there are shots like during the daytime. I think one is like when they go up to like the sheriff's house or something like that. They go up to one of the house and it's literally like white felt like folded around. Like it is not real snow. That they're just trying to force into the background and on the ground to make it look like it. It is just material on pine straw. And it's like, I'm like, holy shit, no, they wouldn't. And I'm like, yeah, that's bad. But maybe like knowing that it was going to be on VHS and, you know, not hyper crisp, you know, they just assumed like nobody's going to know. But yeah, it is so cheesy. And then like when they're building the snowmen in the town for the snowman competition, like it's all like super like felty and fake and yeah, it's just dumb.
Yeah.
But
No, and no, that movie's effects. That's one thing about that movie that makes it like that's almost why they needed to go like a gag a minute with the comedy to kind of just
yeah.
like lean all into the camp because those effects are like kind of bad, but in a way that like would make the film fun if the rest of the film was fun, like in those
Hmm.
in the same like vein and stuff. Because whenever Jack Frost and the I'm talking about the horror one, of course, that's the only thing
Hmm.
is I hopefully people don't get too confused with us talk about both, but we're trying to keep it, I figured it'd be fun to talk about them together. So that way we could
Hmm.
jump back and forth like this with similarities and stuff. But I also don't want people to get confused. So I am talking about the horror one with this one, but the, because I do think the effects are good on the family friendly one. That one's Jim Henson. And I will say that other than a few spotty CGI moments, that really holds up the puppet in my opinion.
Sure.
But in the other one, there's in the horror one, there's plenty of times where it looks like a little oven mitt, like slamming a
Yeah.
hand through a doorway. And then there's also the moment where he hits Frosty with the truck and he flies off. If you look like when he hits him, you could see a string. You could see the string
Oh,
uh,
that's funny.
coming from him that like he obviously pulls away. But no, I do love. And another thing I love about the horror one to kind of not just knock on it though is I love the one-liners from Jack Frost when he's
Oh,
like
they're absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, when he's like, "Look, I'm a Picasso" or whatever, and like just everything he says is like funny as shit, and it's really like I feel like the embodiment of like the guy that got to play Jack Frost
Mm.
was like a really good villain as well as
Hmm.
like they did a good job just building that character up as like I like that like he was already a serial killer and like you already like knew how dangerous he was like when the film started, so they didn't have to waste time like with the other one. They took like you already knew that he was going to die in a car accident and become the snowman just from watching the trailer back in the day,
Mm.
so you didn't need to see him 40 minutes of why he's a good dad. You could have literally just had him like come home from the tour, had like one good night, oh here's the harmonica, I love you son,
Hmm.
next day he leaves for another show, boom, dies in a car accident. It doesn't need to be like
Yeah.
they didn't need to build the snowman to begin with. Like that was cool
Yeah.
and all, but like he could have just built a snowman one day because he missed his dad. You know what I mean? And put the hat on it or something. Like
Sure.
so. That's where this one like some people complain about the little narration at the beginning, but because it's so Christmassy and like really fits, like it really like fleshes out the story without feeling like somebody's just sitting there like a police procedural type thing telling the story or whatever. But
Hmm.
what would you say is do you have any favorite scenes from either one like where that really like truly stood out to you as far as like and
Mm.
obviously like could have stood out to you in a way of like not being good but being like holy shit that's fucking wild or whatever, because there's definitely a few
Uh,
moments in both films, but
yeah, I mean, for the family friendly one, hands down the like when they do the snowball fight,
yeah.
like I don't know, I feel like that's quintessential like Christmas winter movie is the like absurd battleground snowball fight that kids would have that I'm like I would pay any amount of money to go have a snowball fight like that. Like
Yeah.
it's perfect. Um and yeah, that's fun. And then I don't know, in the horror one, I'm trying to think what would be like my favorite moment. Um I don't know. It's hard to say something is like a favorite moment of that. I mean, I do love the intro, like the intro after the story, and then just the whole buildup of how he gets um, mutated and everything, like the police like escort and then car crash and everything. Um, like you said, the guy that plays Jack Frost, the serial killer, like he did not have to go that hard,
Yeah.
in that scene. Like he was literally probably the best actor in this entire movie. And I don't know, it's a cool setup. And then I just love the like thing bursts open. He's like, this is gonna hurt like shit, it's
Yeah.
just like that's all you get. So that honestly, that's probably my favorite. But yeah, I don't know what scenes stand out the most for you.
Well, I want to point out in the first film or in the family friendly one, the first snowball fight, one of my favorite things about the film is the bully is straight snapping into a Slim Jim.
Oh
When
yeah,
we
like it's
first
a
see him,
cigar.
he's just
Yeah.
got like a Slim Jim, like fucking. And I was like, dude, same. I'm 90% sure I watched that movie with a Slim Jim hanging out of my mouth, so I definitely
Oh,
felt
that's funny.
that.
He
But
does it twice. He
yeah,
sees him later in town and he's got a Slim Jim. He's like throws it to the ground like, all right. I'm just like, what the hell? This is hilarious.
but in that film, and I mean, my favorite part is probably is the snowball fight. It's like the funnest moment and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But the funnest like cringe moment in it is when the kid's like, "It's better to have a snow dad than no dad."
Uh,
It's like,
that was hilarious when they bond over like having no dads and he helps him lift him up. Yeah, so that was funny. I'm just like, oh man, the skater punk kid now is like, I can relate to you, dude. Like we both have, absent fathers.
you know,
But
no, and the kind of like the similarities, this one had the horror movie had a bully as well, and
uh-huh.
one of my favorite scenes is when the bully gets decapitated, just because
Oh yeah.
the son's face is just like, oh, and at first everybody just thinks he did it, and it's like, what the fuck? But I do. The beginning scene where he gets transformed is probably my favorite scene just because that's the best
Mhm.
effects in the horror film.
Sure.
And but that's the only thing is it sets up a like those that opening scene sets up something so much more like campy and fun and like more gory than it becomes, because some
Yeah.
of the other kills are so much more lackluster. Like I even thought the nudity was more gratuitous. Like that scene sucks because it's like literally
Hmm.
uh you don't even see her like I'm gonna be honest, like you don't even see her nude at all.
Yeah.
until she's getting R-worded, and then that becomes weird. So it's like, why would did you
Oh
even have a
yeah.
nude scene if it's not for the male gaze? Like, I'm not trying to be like that. That's gross, obviously.
Sure, sure.
It's like doesn't have to be. I'm not trying to be misogynist, but like, why even have the scene if you're not doing it for the reason that they did it in the 90s? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I and particularly who it was, because I feel like
yeah,
that's what she got cast for in films. Like she was the hot chick, So,
yeah,
but
and like they show enough that they have to still do an R rating, and you still see her boob. It's just like for like a quick second, but it's just
mhm.
like one of those things that it's like, why would you even like, I don't know, that whole scene just felt weird. It felt like the R word was the reason for doing the scene, and I'm like, at that point it just becomes gross. Like
Yeah.
that makes you gross. So that's where I was like, I kind of don't like it that that's the reason that they did, like, I don't know. So it's just that whole scene just really like takes the film, and it's at a bad moment too, because you finally get like a decent kill and then they move on to
Mhm.
that and you're like, God damn it, now it's weird. But
Yeah.
I do like the like kind of the climax once everybody's in the town hall in the horror film. Like from that
Mhm.
point on, I really enjoy everything that happens. Like it becomes like more of a cat. There's like three endings, and but
Oh
that
my
shit
God.
should have happened. Like they should have cut some more of the stuff in between out of just the like random people around town and stuff like that. I do love when he like goes to the family's house, and like wraps the woman in Christmas lights and
That's a
like,
cool kill for sure.
but it was just like all the little town stuff in between just felt so dull. I almost wish that it would have been like more of like spoof style where everybody's just making jokes and like it's just
Hmm.
something to keep the tone of the film. But that's why the film works as like a party film so well, like we said at the
Yeah.
beginning, is because there's those moments where you could literally just tune out and then be like, oh shit, he's Jack Frost is back on screen or whatever. So
Hmm.
it's do the like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme with Leonardo, like, oh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the only other thing that I really wanted to point out before we kind of like wrap up some thoughts on the films are it's kind of a question I want to pose to you. Do you think the keyboard player was fucking the mom in the family friendly film?
Dude, I thought that actually. I was like, who is this British guy? Is he British? Is he Australian? I don't know. But yeah, he kept hanging around and, just like, hey, Charlie, I'm just hanging out with your mum, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I think you're hanging out with his mom a little more. Yeah, I had that suspicion. So, but
Right, and he was like, "I need to get my mojo back," and I'm like, "The only other person that gets their mojo back is Austin Powers, and he fucks." So we know we know what you're saying there, kid.
I don't know. Maybe he really knows how to tickle the ivory. So, he's just a smooth cat. So,
The scene where he like freaks out about the snowman and literally like moves him in front of the like
oh,
the door, and then when he wakes up, he's like, "Oh, what happened here?" That was
uh,
probably one of like the genuine like funny moments in that film. And I was like, that was pretty like an actual like could have been in a real comedy movie, not just like
sure,
in the middle of the
sure.
family friendly. But that shit's that movie's just very the family friendly one. After coming out of both of them just feel so weird to me. Like obviously the horror one makes more sense because we've seen other like Ice Cream Man's kind of weird with like
Hmm.
what they decided to do with like the thought of just an ice cream man as a killer.
Sure.
And I don't mean weird in a bad way. Obviously, I love that film actually a lot more than I liked Jack Frost.
Oh,
Um
100%. Yes.
yeah, it's a lot more fun and stuff like that, and just like the kills are actually good and stuff. So and it keeps the same tone, throughout and this and
Hmm.
that. So where like I said, both of these films to me just feel so uneven. And but one of the things like Jack Frost, the horror film makes more sense because it's campy. They're just trying to cash in on the slasher
Hmm.
craze and picking a character and holiday to do it with. So where the other one, it kind of feels like I don't know. It almost feels like maybe were trying to do the Disney
Hmm.
stereotype of killing a parent, but being live action, it doesn't translate because like that's the only thing I could think is that they were thinking of like all these Disney films where these parents die and it's like sad and but magical and stuff, but it's
Hmm.
like a live action death isn't the same as like fucking Simba's dad dying in a damn tr-
It's a Christmas miracle. And
stampede. Not that I don't
Dad's
cry to
better
that,
than
but
ever now. He's
yeah.
a snowman. Yeah, it is kind of funny. I'm just like and just like if you think about it from a completely logical standpoint, like what kid is like, oh yeah, cool, my dad's a snowman now. Like I'm down with this. Like
Well, and if
they're
you got your
they're
kid backing you up, why would you spend you're there for like a week and you don't
uh
talk to your wife until you're saying bye, which he
yeah.
decides to go on
Yeah.
his own. Nobody tells him and he even has to leave. So like he's just like, peace out, family. I don't want to be, I'm gonna go. It's pretty much like he was going on tour again. So
Uh-huh.
he is a shitty dad. He's just
Yeah.
like, I'm peacing
He has
out.
the one phone call where he talks to her because he's like, I gotta save my son. and, and
What?
it takes him up to the mountain. I was like laughing. I thought for sure. I forgot about the cabin and I was like, they're
Yeah.
gonna go all the way up to that mountain and he's just gonna be like, I mean, it's literally like Frosty the Snowman, the cartoon, where they like take him away and the kids are like, I'm dying, I can't
Yeah.
live here, you know.
Turn into the
But
Oregon Trail, fucking taking Frosty up.
but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he calls and he's like, you gotta come get Charlie. And she's like, what? Is that you? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right, all
Yeah.
it took was a phone call, and like the voice immediately, she was like, "Is that you?" But yet you didn't think that for the whole week that you were there, you could have gotten in front of her and been like, "Remember that time I licked your butthole in Hawaii?" You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't have brought up anything that like nobody else would know. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's your wife. There's something that you know about her that nobody else knows. Like you can't. And like it took him forever. Even when he was trying to convince his kid, it took him until he accidentally called him Charlie Boy. I was
Mhm.
like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, he answered the questions right, but I'm like, you couldn't have just said something that was like, remember that time I gave you this and, the
Yeah.
camp and blah, blah, and like, no, like, you skinned your knee at Camp Wanalaka or whatever back in the day,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anything. And it's like, instead, he just sits there and doesn't talk to his wife for 2 weeks and then dips for no reason, like, without any reason, because it's like they brought him up to the cabin so he could be where it's cold. And
Mhm.
he was like, oh, well, I gotta go now. It's like, it's not hot yet. Like, why not wait for it to at least be
You
hot?
have all winter. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we've closed this chapter. You've got closure now with your dead dad. Your wife probably doesn't have closure, but she's fine. She's got maybe he's pissed. He's pissed
Yeah.
at the keyboarder. That's what it is.
Deleted
He's
scene.
exactly. Um,
She
yeah.
getting Eiffel Towered by the keyboardist and Henry Rollins.
Oh
No.
my gosh. Henry Rollins as a hockey coach is the best thing ever. Like,
Yeah.
I want an offshoot movie about, like I want a new Mighty Ducks where Henry Rollins is the coach and and he's just screaming at kids. It sounds so amazing.
It's
But
like
yeah.
Bad News Bears, but with hockey.
Yeah, I just want to know how they pulled him. Like what made him like is it just because it's a music movie, but like again, it's like a blues music video, or movie, so it's funny that they would be like, oh yeah, we should find the one rockin' artist that we could get. So, but
No, I wonder if
yeah.
it was him trying to get into acting back then and would just take
Oh yeah.
roles because he was in a bunch of random shit. Like he was in that movie The New Guy with DJ Qualls. I don't know if you never.
Yep. I remember
Uh,
that.
and he's in like a few other like random comedies where he just shows up as like the tough guy.
Mm,
So I think it might have been like I know he's in some television too, like CSI and stuff like that, or
yeah.
whatever was going at the time. But so
He
it
was
might
in
have
like
been
the third Wrong Turn or something like that too.
second, the second
It's the
one.
second one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joe
where he's
Lynch did
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah, he's like isn't it like a reality show and he's like the yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's either the director or a contestant. I can't remember, but I feel like he was.
I think he's a director or like something. He's like just staff for the show, like making it happen. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's classic Henry Rollins, Hardo. So
that'd be one to be worth revisiting when it comes like fall time or like springtime. That's when I like to watch like some like wooded horror movies that aren't like
mhm.
campy or like summertimey, like Wrong Turn and
Oh
uh,
yeah, definitely.
even Cabin
I
in the Woods to
I
me is
uh
more spring break than
I have this problem where like if I start something in a franchise, like I have to check them all off, you know?
yeah.
And there were a lot of them that like I never saw all the Hellraiser films, and I was like, you know what, I really should watch these. And like so many people were like, do not like you're just gonna be so disappointed after four. Like it just gets so bad. And I'm like, nope, I'm determined. I have to watch them all. And it's pretty much the same thing with Wrong Turn. Although you know what? I don't know if I ever saw the new one that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, which is
I,
going to piss me off because then I'm going to have to just watch them all again.
no, that one was apparently like a whole reboot remake. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
quite different from what I've heard. I think Mike P. Nelson did it, the guy that just did that Friday the 13th short film that
Uh,
just came out or whatever through Angry Orchard. But
which wasn't very good. I don't know. I don't want to throw shade on anybody that loves it, but
no,
it was whatever.
yeah, I didn't really like it myself either. It didn't feel Friday the 13th at all to me. And so I'm right there with you. So it doesn't make me want to watch the film either, really. But
Yeah.
not that's one of those franchises that it does suck, but I enjoy one and two quite a bit.
Mhm.
Um, Two leans into the comedy aspect of it, and I enjoy one just because it was like the first horror film I ever saw in
Oh yeah.
theaters. And then not the first one I ever saw, period, but in theaters. And then it takes place in North Carolina, so that's always cool too. But
Yeah.
But no, the only other thing that I forgot to mention about the movie, I think I brought it up at the beginning of the episode briefly and then said we'd get back to it, is the
Mm.
antifreeze and the fucking cookies, dude. Like, where did that come from? And it's like that's how they beat him, and the dad's just like smiling about it. Like, at no point is he like,
You were gonna
dude,
kill me. Yeah, that's so funny. Uh, that is such a absolute like like shark jumping, like
well, it makes
plot
sense
twist to
with a
it.
child's
Yeah.
mind though. Like, okay, my dad's cold,
Uh,
antifreeze would make him not
uh,
cold. But I'm with you. It's like, how the fuck did they like the fact that that sat there the whole movie? And it makes sense if you watch the scene knowing it. You see the
uh,
antifreeze like sitting there.
yeah.
But
Oh no, that's funny. And then I love the fight with the snowman in the back of the tub of antifreeze in the back of the truck and back to the like bad special effects. Like you can literally see that the hollow snowman suit is hollow because it's
yeah,
like all like caved in, like it's a like freaking mascot costume that he's just pushing down and stuff. They're like, just struggle in that water. You'll be fine. Yeah, so funny. And the other thing that I absolutely hated still about that movie is the freaking like special agent FBI guy.
oh
He
yeah,
is the worst character in that entire movie. Just like trying to be cool, but he is like the most uncool FBI agent ever.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know. He seems like somebody that was like, I really think this needs to be in the story, and I really think I'm the guy for this. And they're like, all right, Ted, go do it, whatever, like
yeah.
something about that was so off. But
It would have been funnier if they made like two bumbling idiot scientists that were just trying to capture their
yeah,
experiment, and just so that way, like they didn't have to be the FBI. It could have just been like people from that place that are like, dude, this cannot get out that our experiment turned this person into a fucking snowman, pretty much. Like,
yeah, yeah. That would be 1,000 times better for
yeah.
sure. But
And it would make sense that they were goofy and stuff. And I'm with you. It almost felt like kind of reminded me of like, of course, I enjoy that character way more, but it kind of reminded me of Moriarty in the stuff,
mm,
the one that's like,
sure.
uh, my friends call me Mo because I always want Mo or whatever.
Yeah,
And he's like going around investigating shit. It's like they just needed a character to like drive this movie forward. That's all they needed to like
yeah.
to bring the
Oh
two
yeah.
together. But nah. And then the antifreeze part, like when they're, of course, when he's splashing in it, you're already like, when your eyes fucking burn, like,
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
and then at the end, he's like kissing his wife and kids, like with their, which of course the kid gets brought into it, but even after that, the wife's like just kissing on him and stuff. I'm like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah.
But
And then you have the Friday the 13th, like the second scare where he's like, "What about the hand?" And he's like, "No."
yeah,
I'm just like, "Okay, how many times do we have to go through and watch this dude die?" So,
yeah. I wouldn't mind watching Jack Frost too. I haven't seen it yet, but that's one of those franchises where I could see like if they leaned into the character more, it could become funnier, like
mm,
funnier and better. Just kind of like how Chucky. Uh, I like the Child's Play movies. Like Child's Play 2 is the best in the franchise. I can agree with that and stuff.
mm,
But I enjoy the tone of like well, I just know that's like a major consensus. I wouldn't say that's my favorite in the franchise, Child's Play 2 or whatever, but it is one of my favorites. But like my favorite, personal favorite is Bride of Chucky, and that's because that's when they switched and just dove into the
mm,
character head first. You just follow Chucky being fucking Chucky the whole movie, and
sure.
I don't need to follow a snowman the whole time. But if we could just get some goofy characters that don't matter
Yeah.
but are fun enough to be around, and then have like a little bit better kills. I know that one just got a big release from one of those companies. Is either Shout Factory or Vinegar Syndrome or Arrow
Oh,
Video or
really?
something. And it has like Jack Frost, like an animated Jack Frost, but he's like on a surfboard, and it's supposed to be like, which that's another thing is the score of this movie had a lot of Hawaiian style music in it. So I was like, now I kind of want to watch the sequel and see if like that's why they leaned into it, and so I kind of want to see where they go with that. But
Yeah,
uh,
the music, there's something about the style that like weirdly reminded me of like it like if the people that did Trimmers had like their C team that didn't get to really work on Trimmers did Jack Frost, but then it was like a Blue Moon type feature release. I don't know. There's something about it that has that hokey 90s, like the music is like particularly weird. And I don't know, like Weird Al could be in this movie,
yeah.
but
No, without the like strange, unnecessary, quote unquote sex scene, just so I don't have to keep saying R word, which I said it anyways. But without the Shannon Elizabeth scene in the movie, I'll say it that way. Uh, this film literally could have been like a sci-fi original or something from back in the day. Like this could
Yeah,
have been
yeah,
something
a
from
1000%.
like
Yeah.
television, yeah, or like a made-for-TV horror movie from MTV or just something like that. Because this definitely
Mhm.
felt just like way toned down. Like it felt like everything was supposed to be worse and gorier and this and that, but maybe
Mhm.
either the effects weren't working right. This is something I would like to do is like watch the movie with commentary or just listen
Mhm.
to the commentary on it like while I'm working or something and
Sure.
hear maybe if that was like something that they had an issue with because it seemed like they always wanted to go bigger with the kills or like the kills seemed like they were supposed to show more but for some reason would show uh like closer up on certain things or would like cut quicker than you feel like
Mhm.
it should have and so it just like really dumbed down a lot. The movie felt dumbed down and I even Googled is there an edited version on Tubi and it said like
Oh,
no everything on Tubi is really like regular and stuff like that because that's where I
oh, that's
watched it
funny.
uh no, hell yeah. We don't have to rate these because we kind of did a different type of discussion. And I mean, we're not going to give these high ratings. I'd probably give them both like a five, like maybe uh,
Mhm.
if you're watching it with a group, a six, or if you're a 8-year-old kid, I might give the family friendly one to recommend. Actually, no, I wouldn't because you got to watch 40 minutes of the dad and mom being very weird with each other and shitty blues music and fucking dad dying and stuff. So no, it's not really worth either one to me is not really worth to watch. Jack Frost, the other one, like
Mhm.
is like we mentioned, is worth it if you have a group of people around or if like you're entertaining people.
Yeah.
But not if you're gonna sit alone and watch it, even like just alone with your wife, unless you guys just want to get stoned and laugh at something. But even then it's
Uh-huh.
like kind of boring. So no, definitely wouldn't recommend either of these films. I'm not a huge fan of either one. Like I said, I've rattled off a ton of Christmas horror films I watch every year. And this is
Sure.
probably only the third time I've watched Jack Frost. I think
Mhm.
honestly, my second time, well, third time in like in full. I probably watched it like in the background a couple times, like back in the day, like at high school, post high school. But
Sure.
I watched it for the full time that one time with all my friends. I watched it when Joe Bob showed it, or like on the one of the reruns with the Joe Bob commentary just to hear what he said. I should have
Mhm.
tried to. I think I tried to watch that version and it's no longer available. I should have just
Mhm.
watched the just Joe Bob part just to see if I could get any info on maybe, the effects being an issue and this and that. But
Sure.
so no, this is one that I don't really prefer. Do you have any final thoughts on it before we get out of
No, I mean it's just yeah,
here?
like I mean I think you summed it up pretty well. Like Jack Frost, the horror film is great for a party film that you don't need to take seriously. And then I feel like the original one is like if you want to watch like a classically 90s the plot makes zero sense type film, then yeah, throw it on. Or you're a millennial and you saw this movie as a kid and it just has stuck with you, and you watch it all the time. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents for sure. So
Yeah. Now I was looking at my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything, and definitely did not. The only thing I wrote down, literally the only thing I wrote down was the best little band no one's ever heard of, and the bullies always snapping into a Slim Jim. I mean, I wrote down a few other like small stuff, but nothing
Yeah.
like big. But no, hell yeah. Well, I enjoyed chatting about these films with you, probably more than I enjoyed watching them.
Yeah,
I will say out of the two, if I had to say which one I enjoyed watching more, it was the horror one, just because like
sure.
the other one was kind of like started to really I was like really just waiting for the fucking snowman to show up after a certain point. So because
Hmm.
like I said, the nostalgia to me was like remembering just that half that's fun, not the
Hmm.
weird dark part and stuff. So and they do definitely make some weirdly inappropriate jokes with the snowman boobs and shit like that. So
Yeah.
but
Yep. Yeah. One melts hearts and one melts faces.
right. You the man. No, I'm the snowman. No, fucking
Oh my God. So many one-liners. Oh my God.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
but
Well, yeah. Thank everybody for listening. If you haven't subscribed already, just make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment below letting us know what you think. I'm sure there's some people out there that love either one of these films, so they might hate that we don't like them quite as much. But to each his own. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Well, we'll see everybody in 2 weeks for our top 10 horror films of the year, as well as some of our other stuff from the year. But thank you for joining me, Steven.
yeah, dog. Sounds good. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next one.